So when I awoke this morning, I found that overnight, Ukraine had hit a Russian ship, the Novocherkassk, if I'm not mispronouncing that. It's a Russian landing ship. And I thought, well, that's not all that exciting, but there's a lot to the story here that really provides context and nuance in how you're understanding what has taken place. My name is Gerdes. I'm just a professor helping you understand what's going on in the war in Ukraine. I'm trying to provide context so that you understand things as well as you can. Here's the first article from Radio Free Europe. Ukraine's Air Force hit a major naval port. A Russian naval landing ship docked there was destroyed. It's in Fedosia. Well, where is Fedosia? Well, here's Fedosia on the map, and we're going to scroll in and out, and just so you can see where it is, this is Fedosia on the map. And then we're going to zoom back out so you can see where it is relative to the rest of Crimea. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, Fedosia on the eastern side of the Black Sea Peninsula around 3 a.m. local time, hitting the ship Novocherkassk. Okay, Lieutenant General Mykola Oleshuk said in the Post on Telegram that Russia's naval fleet is getting smaller. It truly is, and this is not something that Russia was banking on when they first invaded Ukraine. Russia's defense ministry confirmed that the Novocherkassk has been damaged. They didn't say that it was sunk or hit or destroyed, but they used the lightest words possible. Yet, watch this next line. The Kremlin said that Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu had briefed President Vladimir Putin on the strike, a possible indication of the seriousness of the attack. That they were able to do that and that he needs to inform the boss, that's really interesting. Okay, unverified photos and video showed fireballs climbing into the night sky accompanied by an enormous shockwave. So let's go over to Twitter and we'll see on Twitter, yep, this is it. I'm not going to play the thing, you don't need, but the fireball is huge. You can see that it's going to get, and it's just starting, it's going to get bigger and bigger. And again, this is where it is in Crimea. You can zoom right into where the dock would have been. Again, that fireball was just something. You can see it in multiple views, and so clearly it was hit. It can't be denied that it was hit. Now, let's look at the New York Post, because there's more to the story here. And here we want to look at just this one little line. Although the Ukrainian counteroffensive has made very little in the way of battlefield gains, and the Russian military has gained the initiative in several places. Well, I'm not sure that I would say that the Russian military has gained the initiative. If you're going to think about Avdiivka as regaining the initiative, do that all day long. I mean, that's not been healthy for the Ukrainian or for the Russian military. Ukraine has been able to launch a series of attacks on Crimea, the headquarters of the Russian Black Sea Fleet, inflicting serious damage. Now, okay, so that's really interesting. And as I was thinking about this, I was thinking about Zaluzhny and his comment in The Economist magazine. Remember, he was talking about the language of stalemate. Look, we can't do more than we're doing without different weapons. Now, F-16s are about to arrive, and they're going to have different weapons. But by way of analogy, I was thinking of this, and I was thinking of my own personal circumstances here with what I'm doing in my videos and how things have just transpired. So if you'll just bear with me, I think I have a good analogy for what's happening. So Ukraine, if they try to fight against the Russians on the front lines of the counteroffensive with the minefields without air superiority, they found out in short order that's not a healthy way to proceed. That's going to be very damaging. They need air superiority in order to get there, and they don't have the F-16s yet. They're going to get them soon. They don't have they don't have control of the skies, and they really need that in order to destroy those defenses and not be shelled while they're trying to get across those front lines. I thought about this, like, for the last, I don't know, well, we're in like 660, 670 days now, right? So for the last, I don't know how long, I've been feeling terrible about, for example, not being able to raise funds. But I know myself, and I know my skill set. And that's not something that I'm able to do. I don't want money to flow through me. I want it to go directly where it's going, which is why yesterday when we announced this with Greg Terry, we're doing this thing where we're trying to create an Amazon link to go directly as possible to the front line. You can donate now to this link. And Greg, if you don't know who Greg Terry is a American. He has traveled to Ukraine for the last 20 some odd years, back and forth, and he's been heavily involved. He's raised $250,000 for Ukrainian aid. So I just linked my wagon to his and said, guys, this is how you can donate. You can donate directly to this Amazon site. It'll go there. You'll see it being delivered in his videos. Like, this is what he does. So rather than try to do something more with what I don't have, I just decided to partner with the F-16s and let him do what he's doing. By the way, later on today, we're going to reveal like how much they raised on Christmas through those Amazon links, and show his tax ID number, because I'm trying to show you that everything's above board and you can look up the tax number and all those kinds of things. Because I want you to be able to, I sense a deep frustration in my audience about not being able to do more. And if you do want to give, here is a way that you can get things where they need to be, including like thermal underwear and things that are be useful, tourniquets or the chest, what's the stuff, the wounds in the chest kit, like those kinds of things, right? So, by way of example, what I did yesterday, and you can go back up to look up that video, please, 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 right? What I did yesterday was essentially the same thing that Zaluzhny was saying. He needs different resources in order to proceed differently. Now, I said all that to say this, okay? They have inflicted these casualties or these massive wounds on the Russian military in the Black Sea because they have to do something other than on the front lines where they haven't been making the progress until they get some other mechanism. And that's what Zaluzhny was saying. Like, when you have the F-16s, you can actually get across there. Okay, let's go on to the next thing. Here's Wikipedia talking about the landing ship, the Novocherkassk. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not, but it's already been updated on October 22nd. Oh, I'm going to read that afterwards. Let me read the update first. On December 26th, the ship was reportedly destroyed by the Ukrainian Air Force. The ship was destroyed in an air attack by 2 Ukrainian Su-24s using more than one missile, according to the Ukrainian Air Force. Okay, that's kind of what we know. Russia officials also claimed that 2 Ukrainian Su-24s have been shot down, a statement that Ukraine has not confirmed. But of course they have. Well, we did this, and you did that, but we did more, right? I mean, that's the way that they kind of process. But here's the interesting thing about when I was reading this. On 24 August 2022, it was reported that the Novocherkassk and sister ship Caesar Kunikov were out of action, listen to this, due to lack of spare parts to repair the ship. So they were docked because they had a lack of spare parts, which allowed them to be able to attack them in the dock. And yeah, the lack of spare parts was attributed to sanctions imposed on Russia. So they're not really that healthy if you can't put the ship out to sea because you lack the spare parts. And yeah, that's what's going on. Last little bit here. Here is a picture of the ship. This was back when it was first launched in 2000. I don't remember. Let's see where it was. Back in 2010. So that's what the ship looked like, and it's no longer. It's now an ex-ship. My understanding from another article that I didn't show you is that it was carrying missiles that were going to be transported. And here's the part of the other beauty, because of damage to the Kerch Bridge. So it all adds up. It's cumulative, and as the weight adds up and adds up and adds up, it makes it more difficult for the Russians to be able to proceed with the war and be as effective. They're degrading their power steadily. So that's what we know so far. Perhaps later today or tomorrow, I'll have another update. I don't know if I will, but I will have an update on the fundraising for Christmas yesterday with Greg Terry, so be looking for that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and the coffees, and thank you more than anything else for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.